Hey there, how there, ho there, Chef Dynamic. Welcome you to another special presentation of a tribute game. And today we're going to be doing a tribute game in honor. Well, you'll see the 71 Blackhawks and the 65 Blackhawks in Stone Cold Hockey. And no, not every season is in play and all that. But the reason why we're doing this is right here. That's right. Dennis Hall passed away yesterday, May 30th. He passed away like at 9 o'clock Eastern time when the papers came out. So I didn't have time to do the Saturday tribute game. So I'm doing it on a Sunday. He was a left winger. He was the brother of Bobby Hall, who passed away, 3 years ago, I think? And the uncle of Brett and Bart Hall. Bart Hall was a running back for the BC Lions. Brett Hall, iconic goal scorer for Calgary. Bet you didn't know that. He was a Calgary guy. St. Louis, I think you would know. Then he went to Dallas, then to Detroit, and then he ended a career with the Coyotes because Bobby Hall kind of ended with the Coyotes. Well, Winnipeg / Phoenix. He was always in the shadow of his older brother Bobby. Well, obviously, they were teammates for 8 years. I mean, Bobby Hall was good. Dennis Hall was decent. And also, well, it reminds me of Pocket Rocket Richard. Once he got out of Maurice Rocket Richard's shadow, he was good. He emerged on the start player zone. He scored over 300 goals and was the Silver Jet. Bobby was known as the Golden Jet. Bobby was actually out of the 72 Summit Series, and he went to the WHA when Chicago's Arthur Wirtz basically, what they call dollar bill or whatever, basically cheapened him. So he went to WHA. Dennis actually was invited to play in the 72 Summit Series between Canada and the Soviets, with WHA players not allowed to take part in the Summit Series. Dennis made it known he was going to actually boycott the event to show support. However, Bobby told them to stay on Team Canada. Bobby Hall would get his own chance in 74 when there was a Summit Series between the WHA stars from Canada and Russia. So Bobby Hall played with Sean Rattel and Rod Gilbert on what they call the goal game line. Vic Hadfield did play for Canada, but left before the Russian games. So yeah, he scored 2 goals and 2 assists in 4 games. Of course, there were a lot of players, and they would rotate sometimes. He was a second team All Star, got to 5 All Star games. He was part of the MPH line with Pint Martin and Jim Pappin, one of the better units in the NHL in the 70s. He actually had 4 straight 29 goal seasons, 40, 30, 39, 29, as you see on the screen. His best season was 1973 when he had 90 points. I don't have the 73 season because that is not one of the Stone Cold seasons. 71 and then 75. I could have won 75, but I'm going to go with 65 versus 71. Dennis Hall in his early days against Dennis Hall in his later days. He helped the Blackhawks get to 2 Stanley Cup finals in 71 and 73. He became a broadcaster and an educator. He went to St. Catherine's to study at Brock University to get a degree in history and physical education. He actually was known as a public speaker and comedian and did a cattle farm in Northumberland County, Ontario. He actually wrote a book called The Third Best Hall, had entertaining and often hilarious memoirs of his hockey career. I know that firsthand because I remember reading that book. It was kind of a hoot and all that. Hall became good friends with Soviet goaltending legend Vladislav Tretiak, I should say, and said that I told Tretiak that he's famous for letting Henderson's goal. I said, if you had stopped it, you'd be a cab driver in Moscow. That's funny. He died May 30th at age 81. He went to 5 All-Star games. His career stats with Chicago and 1 year with the Red Wings, which was kind of sacrilege. He played 959 regular season games, scored 303 goals. He scored 33 goals in 104 career playoff games and had a couple of long playoff runs. So that's it. Yeah. Yeah, the third best Hall. I should. All right. So now we got the 71 Hawks and 65 Hawks. What I do in my Stone Cold Hockey things is, well, hang on. Let me just go to this first. My documents. That's in 2026. Yeah, I got a lot of things I got to worry about too. That's in 2026. So now I got to add his name into the role. Man. Now these are, I know there's other sports people who have died, but these are people that I think were memorable. Yeah, so this is the third time in 5 days I've had to do a tribute game. I did one to Bob Horner, did one for Claude Lemieux, and now I have to do one for um Dennis Hall. Well, of course, everyone's things are subjective and all that, but anyhow, the cups look up. All right, so 71 Hawks, 65 Hawks. I only play when someone gets to 3 wins. So autoplay game one sees the 71 team win 3-2 as Gary Desjardins beats Glenn Hall. You'll see a goaltending disparity. Tony Esposito, legendary goalie of the 70s for the Hawks, came in 71. He came in 1969 from the Habs to the Hawks. So 65 would be Glenn Hall. Desjardins wins. The 65 squad, Dennis Hall scored alongside Pierre Pilote. The 71 team, Chico Mackey, a pair of goals. Pat Stapleton scored. Hall assisted on Stapleton's goal. Game two sees the 65 team tied up 5-4. Desjardins beats Espo. 65 team, Nestorenko, Warham, Bill Hay, McKenzie, John Pye McKenzie. Bet you didn't know he was a Hawk. I know he was a Bruin, and Nestorenko. Dennis Hall did assist on one goal. Well, the 71 team, Nestorenko, Bobby Hall, Dennis Hall scored the fourth goal to make it 4-3. But it was a little too late. So, yeah, Dennis Hall scored a goal and an assist for the 71 squad. Game three sees the 71 squad win 5-3. Espo beats Hall. 65 squad, Phil Esposito. Yes, he was a Chicago Blackhawk before Boston Bruin. One of the worst trades ever. But they traded Espo because he was a playoff underperformer. That bit them in the ass. Pye McKenzie and Dennis Hall. I know Pye McKenzie, I think, was traded at a different deal. He wasn't in part of the Espo deal. Yeah, Dennis Hall for the 65 squad. 71 squad, Schmier, who later became a WHA star defenseman. Pitt Martin, Dennis Hall, his second. Pitt Martin with a hat trick. Game four sees the 65 squad win 4-3. Hall beats Espo. 71 team, Chico, Dennis, and Brian Campbell, not the defenseman of the Buffalo Sabres. Scoring 65 squad, Camille, the Eagle Henry, Warren, Nestorenko. Game 5 sees the 71 team win 4-1 as Espo beats Hall. 65 team Warren, the only goal from Ravlich and Espo. Chicago goes Pitt Martin, Dennis Hall is fourth, Makita, and then Pitt Martin again. So the 65 squad with Dennis Hall, Dennis Hall has 2 points for the 65 squad. The 71 squad, Dennis Hall has 7 points to lead everybody. Will the 71 team win? Game 6. Gary Desjardins in the net against Glenn Hall. Kind of a weird move. Yeah, Glenn Hall, Dennis Desjardins, the main guys. Tony Esposito, Desjardins, Gilles Meloche played for the Blackhawks. I forgot about that. And Ken Brown. So let's introduce the two teams. The 65 squad and the 71 squad will have some same players, obviously. Bobby Hall, the Golden Jet for the 65 squad. Stan the Man Makita. This is before he decided to clean up his act because his 2-year-old daughter did not want her daddy to be in the penalty box. And it became the Lady Byng winner in 1967 and 68. Kenny Warham, Phil Esposito, yeah, as a Blackhawk, remember. Chico Mackey, Chico Time, Pierre Pilote, great defenseman, Edward Nestorenko, Doug Moens, an Ironman, Bill Hay, Dennis Hall, John Pye McKenzie, Fred Stanfield, another future Bruin, Camille Henry, former Ranger, Matt Ravlich, I think he was a defenseman, Alan McNeil, who 6 years later would become coach of the Montreal Canadiens against the Hawks in 71 finals, and of course get the scoring of everybody by benching Andre Richard. Doug Jarrett, Moose Vasco, Wayne Hillman, and Ken Hodge Sr. before he went to Boston. Now, of course, I do this things for the non-goalies. Okay, the non-goalies for the 71 Hawks. You got Bobby Hall and Dennis Hall. Dennis Hall was much more scorer for the 71 team. Stan the Man Makita, Pitt Martin still around. Chico Mackey, Jim Pappin, former Leaf icon 67. Brian Campbell, Cliff Coro, Jerry Pinder, Dan Maloney, future Leaf. Lou Gotti, Eric Nestorenko, Pat Stapleton, who went to the 7 Series alongside Dennis Hall. Bill White, who also went to the 7 Series. I think he played for the Kings. Jerry Korab, King Kong Korab before he went to the Sabres. Danny O'Shea before he went to the North Stars. Keith Magnuson, who of course died in that car accident with Rob Rem behind the wheel. Doug Jarrett, Paul Schmier before he went to the WHA. Larry Romanidich, and Rick Foley. Here we go. 6 minutes in the game. Battle control defense. Action. for the 71 squad, and Bobby Hull had a chance and he missed. See, it says 83 action, slot chance, and then 75. Goal, 3+ save, otherwise scores. 1 minute later. That team is in the box, that's McNeil. Score! Power play goal. Off the cliff. Coral, his first from Dennis, and Pinder makes it 1-0. I should say over the cliff. 2 minutes later. Action for the 71 squad. Paul Schmier, nothing. This was a clever pass. 1 minute later. Battle. On that battle card. It's Chico time. Chico Mackey, his first from Makita and Pilat, makes it 1-1. 1 minute later. 71. No, Pitt Martin could not score. 5 minutes later. Scores. Mary Pappins. That's Jim Pappin. Mary. It's not Mary Poppins. It's Mary Pappins. His first from Dan Maloney, 2-1. And it's 2-1 71 Hawks after 1 period. Second period, 3 minutes into the game. Battle. It's Hall. The trouble is they don't, with 2 Halls on the team, they don't tell which one it is unless you go to the roster thing. Hard play for the team. Espo misses the puck. Keith Magnuson. Well, he's a defenseman. Power play go. Oh my god, they killed Kenny, you bastards. Kenny Borum has 5th from Makita and Espo, 2-2. 3 minutes later. And Peter Lott? No, he can't do it. Much later. Sam Makita? No. 4 minutes later. Moose Vasco, his birth from Makita. Makes it 3-2 65ers. We got a game 7 on our pause. 4 minutes later. Okay, chance. Chico cannot score. He had a chance. 2 minutes later. Kenny Worrell? No. Foiled. 3 minutes later. That's the tie. Dennis. Oh, he had a crease. He had action 88. Stamina crease chance 77. Goal plus 5+ save. Otherwise score. 3 minutes later. Chance to ice it. Moans? No. 5 minutes later. Trying to kill the clock. Vasco. Power play. 1-2 score. Power play goal on the rebound. Jerry Pitt Martin, his 6 from Dennis and Campbell. Brian Campbell, 3-3. Last moment. And Doug Jarrett, oh, and he missed. So we go to overtime. If the 71 team scores, it's over. If the 65 team scores, we have a game 7. Get your 2-minute battle. This is 16 battle. 2 scores. Only on the 65ers. It's Pilot. Chance for the series to be over. 5-1. Oh, O'Shea cannot put it in. 71. Brian Campbell gets hit. 3 minutes later. Finally on the 71ers, it's Maloney. So the 65 team has a chance to win the game and force a game 7. Overtime heroics. Desposito. His 2nd from Makita and Nestorenko, and the 65 squad has forced a game 7. They win on prolongation in 7 minutes and 49 seconds. So the 71 squad, Coral, Pappin, and Pitt Martin. 65ers, Chico, Warren, Vasco, and Espo. Dennis Hall put up 2 assists for the 71 squad. They should have put Tony Esposito in the net. They'll probably do that. So we got the all-important game 7. 71 team at home. It is Espo against Glenn Hall. It has to be Glenn Hall. I mean, Desjardins didn't bring them there. Well, anyway, no major changes, I think. All right, timing. 4 minutes at battle, aggression. 55, aggressive. It's Nestorenko. It is power play goal. Robins Nestorenko, his second from Stapleton, 1-0. 1 minute later. Oh, you gotta stand this guy. Stan Mikita Donuts, his second from Coro and Bobby, makes it 2-0. 5 minutes later, battle aggression. 55 back on PK. It's Makita. Power play chance. Dennis. Oh, he had a chance. And then Maloney gets whacked. Battle aggression. It's too aggressive. It's Magnuson. Chance to score. Chico Mackie, they kill the zone, which means that they get no chance. 1 minute later. Chance for the 65ers. Bobby. No, sir. And the 71 squad's up 2-0 on the 65ers. Now, Dennis Hall has a better chance to score on the 70-71 squad with a 16-29 die, whereas it is 81-84 on the 65ers. 5 minutes later. 71ers, Bill White. No, sir. You tried to score from the point. 3 minutes later. Chance. The stamina has improved. That's good for Papin crew. Much later. Dennis Hall. Oh, the broken stick foils the shot. 3 minutes later. Oh, 65ers. McNeil. Let's go. Power play goal. Power play goal. Well, it's his game. It's his party. And he'll cry if he wants to. Cry if he wants to. Cry if he wants to. You'll cry too if it'll happen to you. Do. His fifth from Magnuson and Hall. Well, one Hall from another. 3-0. That's good. I've seen weirder shit happen in Stone Cold Hockey. Much later. Ready for the top. Chance for Makita to score? No, sir. 4 minutes later. Pitt Martin? No. Another 4. Aggression. Injury. Double gets the injured thing. Well, the defensive PK of the 71 squad got to Doug Jarrett in the box. Bobby Hall couldn't score. He can. Power play goal. Hey ho, what do you know? It's Dennis Hall. His second of the night for Makita and Pitt Martin. It's his party. And he'll die if he wants to. Jerry Pinder trying to make it Tony Esposito with the hat trick should have put him in game 6, but it doesn't matter. He redeems game 7. Glenn Hall did not. 71 Blackhawks, Kachi. 4-0. And Dennis Hall's the hero. 2 goals, Bobby with 2 assists. It's a storybook ending. The 71 squad, well, the 65 squad, Glenn Hall was 2-4. DeShorty was 1-0. I guess you should have put him in. But Dennis Hall only had 2 goals, no assists for the 65 squad. The point leader was Stan Mikita with 10 points. Well, he had 10 assists. Stan Mikita didn't score a goal for the 65 squad, even though he was the second highest scorer behind Bobby Hall. Well, Kenny Warham had 5 goals. And Nestorenko had 3, which was surprising. The 71 squad, Espo 3-2, Jay Georgian 1-1. Dennis Hall led in goals and points. Dennis with 11 points. Stan Mikita with 8. Bobby and Pitt each had 7. Pat Stapleton, Chico Mackie, Brian Campbell, Cliff Coro, Jerry Pinder, Bill White, Jim Papin, Eric Nazarenko, Jerry Cora, Paul Schmier, Dan Maloney, Lou Gotti, Keith Magnuson, Doug Jarrett, and Larry Romanicic scored points. Dennis with 6 goals, shared with Pitt Martin. Well, he scored 2 goals in game 7, and 5 assists were only behind Stan Mikita. So Dennis Hall was all around the boards, and it feels so good. Dun 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 dun. Well, it was his death day, if you will, and he worked out a little better than Claude Lemieux in a sense, but Dennis Hall was Dennis Hall, and he outshined Bobby Hall. And that's all we want to see. The little brother outshining the big brother. That's what I always tend to do with Edward, my big bro. So stick it where the sun don't shine. And anyway, R.I.P. Dennis Hall, you shall be missed. And to me, maybe you're the second and a half best Hall. I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.